You're watching It's Life with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's happening?
Hey there. Hey there. Hey there. What's happening, Oliver?
Man, I am good, man. How you doing?
Did my camera just get all blurry?
No, I think you look all right.
Okay,
Let me
so
see.
I'm
Let
just
me blow it up a little bit.
look, I'm just bright light, almost white. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello,
You're
everybody.
good. I think you're good.
Hello, everybody. Juan Lee here with Oliver Marcel. It's Life again, sponsored by Clear Journey, nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for changes, looking for answers to life challenges. We provide resources and education in areas such as finances, health and wellness, and relationships, and overall self-improvement with the right mindset. That's what it's all about, the right mindset. And boy, are we going to be talking about the mindset tonight. It's just me and Oliver tonight. No guests. It's just me and Oliver.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting. So we haven't dropped the title yet, but it's going to be interesting. So Oliver, how you been? And I know it's hard for us to get started and asking how each other's doing and not be talking about life and what we're going to be discussing tonight. But let's just say hey to the people, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it, man. I'm well. It's always a pleasure to be able to chop it up with you. And we we are we want to be able to put in front of people conversations and guests and materials and education, if you will, that causes you to really take a look at what you're doing, who you are, where you want to be, and understand what it takes to navigate all of those places and spaces. So, hey, that's what we're doing, and we get to have real life conversations in front of you, the audience, to show you that we're doing the same thing. We're navigating it as well, right?
We're
So,
in this thing together.
indeed,
And we cannot overstate that enough.
yeah.
Again, I'm also the author of a book called Love Made Simple: The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success, which is the foundation of Clear Journey. It talks about the mindset that we're talking about. We're talking about having a love mindset and the attitudes of love that we need to implement in our lives so that we put ourselves in the right state of mind to be able to navigate these things called life. All of these areas. I mean, when we begin to think about what's happening around us in this environment that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
we only get to process it based on the perspective that we bring to it. That's the only thing that we have. And what we're suggesting here at Clear Journey is that we take the perspective of wanting to align ourselves with love.
Mm-hmm.
And when doing that, love never fails. We are successful. And that in turn, even those that are around us are successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of love. And there again, is that connection. When I succeed, you succeed.
Right.
That's how this thing is meant to work. And so that's what we're here to do. We're just trying to connect, encourage, support, educate, and help each of us navigate life a little bit better, reach our potential,
Mm-hmm.
and supporting one another. So,
yeah.
Hey, welcome. If you haven't joined the community, subscribe to our YouTube channel, go over to our Clear Journey website. We have a lot of stuff over there that it can help you at least get you headed in the right direction. So that, and if it's anything that we can do, by all means, just send us an email at info@clearjourney.org, and we'll be there to help you navigate, give you directions to whatever we have, support, giving you the resources that we have available for you. Well, Oliver, I guess it's time to really just drop it then. Tonight's episode The topic is being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Now, I know you've heard that before. I
Yep.
know I've heard that before. So basically, the question is, are you, the listener, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Mm-mm-mm. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? And it's interesting because there is, and I'm thinking out loud, there is a level of frustration, or a
Hmm.
component, I should say, of frustration that gets you to that space, right? Um, but on the other side, there's a, I dare say, there's a component of self awareness that gets you
Mm-hmm.
to that point where you're like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm tired of this. Like, this can't be it, kind of thing. So, and I'm
Yep.
saying that to say, and I know I'm skipping all the way to the end when I say this, but I'm saying that to say, for the people who answer that question, yes, you really got to start kind of looking around, because you have a couple choices. You can lean into the frustration, which could potentially keep you in the cycle of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, or lean into what's being uh, identified, what's being shown, uh, what's being highlighted in the self awareness piece of that,
Yeah, I
because
think you.
in that may lie what you do next.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that you're basically speaking on is you've got to recognize. We've got to recognize the things that are hindering us from being able to get past being sick and tired. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about change. We've got to want the change.
Hmm.
If we don't want it, that's a different mindset. If you don't want to change,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier and more comfortable to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, because to not to be sick and tired is you've got to recognize that you're in a circle. You're doing the same thing, getting the same results, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
You know what's interesting?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I'm kind of posing this as a question, even though it's just coming out as a statement. I feel like when you get to the point where you are comfortable, and I'm using that word in air quotes, with being sick and tired, I don't think you are, I think you're no longer sick and tired. I think you've, I think you've accepted something. Again, it's coming out as a statement, but I'm really posing the
Mm-hmm.
question because I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I, I think you've accepted, I think you've accepted the status quo to your detriment. Because
What?
there's some level of acceptance I feel like is, and you tell me what you think. There's some level of
Mm-hmm.
acceptance that I believe is necessary for you to actually be able to position yourself to move forward. Right? You gotta stop saying "woe is me," and you gotta stop. There's some things you gotta accept. Like, okay, this is where we are, and whether we got ourselves here or not, that's to be determined. But this is where we are. That's that level of acceptance to say, okay, this is where we are, but we don't want to be here. So what do we need to do? I think that's very different to being comfortable with being sick and tired, because that sounds like this is where we are, and you know what? I'm just gonna stay.
Acceptance is essential.
Yeah.
If you're not accepting it, you're not going to move, because your thinking is that you are going to, that there's there's this another way, that there's another, The problem is that you're not doing anything differently. If you're not accepting, acceptance implies that you don't have the answer.
Right. Yeah.
That's the ultimate acceptance.
Yeah. The visual I get with that is acceptance being the fork in the road. And you can do one of two things. One, you can acceptance can lead you, or you can choose after acceptance to um, go down the path of change,
Mm-hmm.
or you can get to acceptance and choose to go down the path of complacency.
Least resistance.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of times that least resistance draws it, because the fact that it's least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
It's change is not easy. It's not. And what happens is there's obstacles to change.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't overcome those obstacles, we have a tendency to stay, and those obstacles are those things that make it difficult. We have a tendency to stay the course as what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And just as an example, the things that you said a little while ago, you said awareness. Lack of awareness will
Mm-hmm.
keep you exactly where you are.
Yeah. Because
If
some
you don't,
people are not sick and tired of being sick and tired.
no,
But though from the outside looking in, somebody would say, man, you probably should be sick and tired of being sick and tired, but that's not how they view it. So again, that goes back to awareness. They may not view it as being sick and tired. They may just view it as, you know what, this is what life is. And I'm just, again, I'm at that fork in the road. I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to go down the path of complacency.
well, but see, but that's what I'm saying. That acceptance that you're referring to, if you look at it as a fork in the road, um, there is, but acceptance is reality. Acceptance is, okay, this is where I am, and that I am is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If that's not absolute, then you ain't accepted.
Okay. So acceptance is always going to lead to
A choice that's going to
right.
be different than the one that you're on.
Okay.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you accept something and choose to continue to do the same thing that you're doing, you don't have your own best interest in mind.
Yeah. And I'll play devil's advocate here. For some people, and I always wonder about this, man, because we talked about this briefly before we started recording. We're talking about resilience, right? And the difference between the person who's sick and tired of being sick and tired and not do anything. Like, what's that resiliency factor, right? What's interesting though, and I always wonder about this, is you have people who it's almost like they have been pushed to circumstances have just pushed them to the point where they're like, I don't have nothing left. So it's not even so much that they want to, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. It's not even
Mhm.
so much that they don't want to do different. They just don't feel like they can do different, right? I was reading this verse in Isaiah, and I was like, man, there are a lot of people who actually feel like this. Isaiah was, talking to the Israelites, but the verse was saying it was like a prayer basically, and it was saying it was asking God to restore, um, and I'm paraphrasing because it's probably not the exact
Mhm.
language, but it was basically saying to restore the, um, I think it was the brokenhearted or something like that. I think that's the word it used. Now I want to look it up because I actually want to say the right thing. It is. in, I want to say Isaiah 57, and it says, restore the, man, I can't think of the word. It's going to kill me. The broke
You
it
know,
something the crushed. That was the word in the NLT. Crushed is the
hmm
word they used.
hmm
And I was like, man, there are some people who have gotten to a place where you hope that it would cause them to do some level of turnaround, but their spirit is crushed. So it's almost like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm under this boulder, if you will, of events, but the boulder's so heavy that I'm crushed. So now what? I can't even move even if I wanted to, kind of thing, right? Um, and I just wonder about that sometimes because, man, you just want resilience for those folks. You know what I mean? Like this, just the coach in me just wants to be like, man, I hear you saying your spirit is crushed, but you got something left that you may not recognize. Like
I am.
you're not pinned down.
I am. I'm not. I'm not going to say I'm not familiar, but I'm not getting. I'm not. I don't know the context of the scripture that you're using.
Yeah, and that's
So
fine.
so so
It's
so
really
so I
talking
only
about.
I only say that to say that not that this is really necessary, but
Mhm,
what I'm suggesting is in circumstances that appear to not have any hope,
mhm,
um, there's lies a renewed mind.
right.
The only way you can get through that is to have a renewed mind.
Yeah.
You really you have to, and I tell you the reason that I can say that is because um I was telling you that I'm taking yoga, right?
Mhm,
Did I tell you that I'm taking yoga?
mhm, yep.
And it is so mind, body, spirit
Mhm,
filled, being able to just slow your breathing down, learning how to breathe more efficiently, learning how to pose in places and areas where your body begins to relax and release. And so perspective is where you gain so much of the change or the release
mhm,
that we need in situations where we've it feels hopeless.
mhm,
And so getting sick and tired and sick and tired is that point of really saying, I need another perspective. I need a new perspective here because life doesn't change. We do.
right,
Life
right.
ain't changing.
Mhm,
We do. And so when that happens, that allows us to then begin to see things differently. And it doesn't change the pressure.
no,
Doesn't change the pressure.
but it
But it's
does change the
amazing.
perspective.
Oh, but what I'm saying is that the effects of the pressure becomes less and less
Mhm,
because of the way we position it in our minds.
yeah.
And so, that's hope in a very bad situation. Um, we oftentimes view our perspective as the one that's the worst.
Mhm, yeah.
But when we can begin to, as we know, be thankful instead of questioning,
Mhm,
be thankful for what we got, for where we are, knowing that it is for a season,
mhm,
giving hope and encouragement in that time. and having the, again, these are all of the things that we talk about at Clear Journey, talking about never wanting to give up, understanding that the value is that tenacity, that the degree that you're not going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you do that? You got to have some tools to do that. And
Gotcha.
so that's what we're trying to do, is to help people realign themselves with the change that they're looking for.
Yeah. And I think part of that too, part of that too is you talked about renewal of the mind, right? Part of that too is a perspective shift, because the context of that chapter, or that section of the chapter, was really basically God saying to the Israelites that he is able to restore, right? And so it people have to understand, and I'm saying this to myself as well. People have to understand that um when you get to the point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that is not that's not a dead end street. And sometimes that's how we look at it. We look at it, oh man, we got to the end of this street. There's nowhere to go. It's a dead end street. If you feel that, that's actually indicative of you opening yourself up to the fact that, okay, it's time to go up from here. And I don't think we often look at it that way. We're like, oh, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Man, this is all right. That's it. No, that's not it. If you recognize that, it's the person who doesn't recognize that and isn't aware of that. They're on a downhill. They're on the ski slope.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get to the place where you're like, man, I'm really sick and tired of being sick and tired, that is actually more of a wake up call than it is a woe is me.
Absolutely. Um, that's that point in time where we know that there's time for change.
Yeah.
If you recognize, there is a lot that we have to, when you said accept goes for those things that we haven't done and for those things that we have done.
Oh, yeah. True.
Okay.
Very true.
Understand that, we've got to accept some things that we haven't done, and we have to accept some things that we have done. And here's the thing: everything that we have done is not necessarily the things that we should have done. And the things that we haven't done
Mm-hmm.
aren't necessarily the things that we need to do. That's
Mm.
acceptance on both ends. And that's not always easy to come to grips with.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: it makes being sick and tired a lot more difficult when you're unwilling to accept both of those ends, both sides of that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it more difficult even to see it, that's a need for change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we've got to be able to understand that, I talk about in my book, I says peace. It's the subtitle is inner peace, contentment, and success. Those are all clues of love being at work. When we got peace,
Mm-hmm.
when we're content. And again, contentment is a state of just being able to be at rest while you pursue, while
Mm-hmm.
you're moving, and then being with your needs being met. And so yeah, it's deep to be able to understand sick and tired of being sick and tired. But again, that's why we're here. And that's why we are here to encourage one another, to be able to help each other to recognize when it is being sick and tired. Because if we don't have peace, we don't have that contentment. I don't know, and contentment is no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
You know, you could be, man, driving a truck, a surgeon, a mailman, a pastor, anybody. There should be a level of contentment of being right where you need to be right now,
Mm-hmm.
until you are equipped to be able to move on and move to the next level. And in the process, here I am. I'm in a season of perfecting.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, I mean, this is a new venture for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is I've been, and here's the thing, been doing it for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm learning something new every day.
Yeah.
That's growth. That's growth. And I don't take light, I don't make light of the fact that every day I'm growing. And here's the one, I'm measuring it against me.
Hmm.
Measuring it against me.
Yeah. And that's important too, because we don't often do that. We measure it against something external, and then that adds to our, sometimes that's the thing that adds to our sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that
Because you're
we're not
looking over and seeing,
evaluating. Right. Yeah.
seeing somebody else, something else. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. Look, here's some of the obstacles. Let's talk about some of the obstacles that stop us from being
Okay.
able to make the change to avoid that sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one I got is the fear of the unknown. Stops you in your tracks from wanting to attempt to change.
Fear of the unknown.
Unfamiliar territory. Don't want to change and have no idea that it's to benefit you to make those steps, to change, to make. Growth is it's the epitome of not knowing
Mm-hmm.
until you know.
Yeah.
You don't know until you know you didn't know. And that's what this is. The fear of the unknown, man. If you fear not knowing, you never learn anything.
Yeah. That's the quickest way to stay stuck, is to give into that.
Yeah. I mean, and here you go. To overcome it, choose progress. Choose wanting to grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conscious decision. I want to grow more than I want to stay where I am.
Yeah.
Love moving forward. And that gives you the overcome that fear. Because guess what? It doesn't change the fact that you're afraid, but you want to move forward more than you are afraid of not moving forward.
Yeah. And for some people too, understand that it's not about it's not about it's not necessarily, I should say, about hitting the target head on first time, right? And sometimes people, they're like, I don't want to move because I need to make sure all the ducks are in a row, need to make sure all the puzzle pieces fit, need to make sure that the ends justify the means, like all the things that we like. Man, listen, I don't want to get to this point and figure out that ain't it. But sometimes that's part of the process. Sometimes part of the process is learning what not to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think of my journey, right, over the
Hmm.
last 5 years. Um, there were some things that I put in place prior to coming to this point. But at the end of the day, I still had to jump out into the the ocean. I had to jump out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I put some things in a place that could allow me to take some chances and not being afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there, no matter what stage you are in,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to get over your fear, because where I am right now, this is nothing like I did before I retired. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a an environment now that I have no experience in. None.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm jumping off, hopefully with a parachute, but I'm jumping.
Right.
But I'm jumping. I can't. You can't avoid jumping. You can't grow. You can't get anywhere other than where you are if you're not willing to jump. And so all I'm saying is when you jump, have a parachute.
Mm-hmm.
Have a parachute. It's okay to jump, but have a parachute. It's one thing, because you going down. At the bottom. Ain't no doubt about it. You going down. Have a parachute.
Yeah.
That's what. So is a familiarity of, of things that you can do. You can't avoid fear, but what can you do? You do it in spite of it, and you put situations in place so that you can do it. And I think fear. I think a lot of people look at fear as something that is trying to avoid, and it's not something that you try to avoid. It's basically in spite of.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we win. In spite of, we have to choose to, in spite of.
Yeah.
Again, we use courage to overcome that in some ways.
Yeah. And we can't evaluate the outcome before we even know what it is. So sometimes we'll categorize things as, we'll put them in columns. This will be a good outcome. This will be a negative outcome. And we don't want to experience a negative outcome. And so we don't do that. I'll give a good example of, those of you listen know, I'm have no problem using myself, right? We spoke at a conference last year. Um, and thankfully, side note, they're bringing us back again this year, later this year. But
All right.
we spoke at a conference last year, and after the conference, I had this idea. I was like, man, I think it would be pretty cool if I drop a proposal to propose that we provide some services to this organization that put on the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're talking about fear of the unknown, right? I can honestly say I let that get to me because in my mind, I was like, one, it's never happened before in this particular organization. Two, I've had um, negative experiences with some components of the organization, not necessarily that particular leadership group, but overall, I've had some issues. And long story short, I just start kind of going down this laundry list of things that I could categorize as negative outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the proposal together, but never sent it. And when I was telling somebody about it, when I finally sent it, I mean, months later, when I finally sent it, I was like, only two things can happen. One is they like it and accept it. Two is that they don't. Me choosing to put one of those, categorize one of those as a negative outcome is the thing that will cause me to get stuck. The
Mm-hmm.
outcome is the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Your responsibility is to make a move, right? And so I'm saying to those that are listening, like, the outcome is going to be the outcome. And the more time you spend categorizing the outcome as positive or negative, the less time you have to concentrate on actually making a move. Because what you'll learn in the move is you're always going to learn something. You're either going to learn based on getting the opportunity, or you're going to learn based on not getting the opportunity. So either way, that's a win. And so again, goes back to what you're talking about with perspective, right? And so we really got to start looking at things. You talked about renewing of the mind. We really got to start looking at things differently and thinking about things differently. And that will help with the fear piece and a lot of the things that we're going to talk about. That will help just that mindset, which again, Clear Journey is huge on, is a difference maker in terms of whether this thing keeps you pinned down or whether this thing awakens something in you that causes you to move.
And you perfectly explain the journey versus the outcome.
Yeah.
It's the journey that we're about. That's where the growth is. It's in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to be able to see it. We focus on the outcome, we miss the journey.
Yeah.
We miss the growth. We miss the opportunity to be different as a result of the opportunity to change. It's focus, it's perspective, it's being able to see value in no matter what the circumstances of the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice. That's a choice. That means that you have to position yourself in a way to see value.
Yeah.
There is nothing. There is nothing in existence that doesn't have value.
Mm-hmm.
We have to position ourselves to see it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Here goes another one, and this was something we basically talked about, and that's comfort of familiar plans. Comfort with familiar plans.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that will stop us from moving, and that's basically how do you overcome that? Is decide that peace matters more than predictability.
Peace matters more than predictability.
That's
Wow.
that planning thing. Peace matters more than predictability.
And that excuse me, that implies that peace can be attained regardless of your circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because
There you go.
we feel like peace is a product of predictability. It's not.
Mm-mm. Peace is on the inside.
Yeah.
Peace is on the inside. Another obstacle: identifying attachments. Identity attachments. Identity attachments.
Okay.
Identity attachments.
Okay.
Answers is you have to shift from this is who I am is to who I want to become.
And that has to be the focus that drives you. Now, sidebar,
Mm-hmm.
what you initially said, identify attachments. That's
Identity.
also a thing though, right?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes our trajectory is hampered by our attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's people, whether that's ideologies, whatever the case may be, there are some things we got to look at and say, hey, nope, we no longer need to be in lockstep with this because it's not serving me in a way that will allow me to progress.
Yeah. And that it's interesting because attachment is it's on the list, and it's attached to what we talked about earlier, and that's outcome. That's a problem when you're attached to outcome.
To the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that identity. When we identify with who we are in the sense of not accepting or not liking who we are, instead of looking at the situation as going, okay, this is where I want to go. This is who I want to become. It's just saying I'm becoming. That means I'm a work in progress. And that means that I'm working at becoming something other than what I am.
Yeah.
And that's that. And if you get hooked on that, you'll stay there.
Mhm.
You'll stay there. Lack of awareness. This is what we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
You know, lack of awareness will just literally paralyze you.
Yeah.
Pauses and observes instead of reacting.
Pause and
Awareness,
observe instead of
yeah,
react.
yeah. Awareness creates choices. Awareness allows you to see other perspectives, allows you to see other things.
Mhm.
This, it's so very interesting when we are in line or aligned with our environment to the point where we understand what our environment is delivering, what it's about. Um, then we begin to see our choices differently when we see how we align with our environment. We can't make our environment what we want it to be. We actually get to align with the environment.
Mm.
And when we align with the environment, now we can take ourselves out of the environment
Mhm.
and put ourselves in a different environment,
Yep. Sometimes that's necessary.
but you don't get to change the environment. You don't create the environment. And so all the way you can get the productivity out of the environment is to align with the environment. You come in and wanting to change things.
Mm.
Align with it, you'll find yourself gaining more success than trying to turn over the apple cart.
Hmm. Interesting.
Go. It's maybe it's time for you to make them go to a different environment.
Mhm.
Go to a different environment. Uh, Waiting for motivation.
Mm. Yeah. That's a crippler right there.
Yeah, how do you do that? Act act from discipline, not emotions.
Mhm.
Love doesn't wait to feel ready. And that's something that we talk about, the love mindset. It really allows you, discipline is one of the attitudes.
Mhm.
And when you act from discipline and not from emotions, emotions allow you to be to understand the moment.
Mhm.
Um, but then how you respond to the moment is based on how disciplined you are in what you know in handling that moment. So that's again one of the things that love does. It begins to give you those right attitudes to overcome waiting for motivation. Fear of responsibility. Anything with that?
So that one, that's interesting because there's there could be a lot of components to that one, right? Um, there could be on one end of the spectrum just the person who is just downright they don't want to do any work, like they want the something for nothing crew, right? But then the other side of that spectrum, in terms of fear of responsibility, is also speaks to some other things that we talk about in terms of how we view ourselves, right? Because sometimes we may not view ourselves as worthy of that responsibility, or we may not view ourselves as educated enough for that responsibility, or we don't have the skill set, or whatever the case may be that we can say why we don't measure up to what it takes to build that responsibility. And that goes back to, again, you know, where is it that you want to be,
Mhm.
and what are the choices that you have to make, and understanding that even that is a process, because you choosing to take on that responsibility may not necessarily mean that you are 100% fully equipped, but it does position you in a way that sets you up for success, because if you're making those steps, then you're going to be more open to instruction. You're going to be more open to options and choices that are in your best interest. And over time, you see yourself winning as opposed to staying stuck in the fear of not wanting to
Be
uh,
responsible.
be responsible. Yeah.
Yeah. It really speaks to ownership.
Mm, that's a good word.
Ownership. And the thing about it is, it doesn't really denote a level. It's just whatever you'll be willing take ownership, no
Mm,
matter what it is.
yeah.
No matter what it is, don't you you know own responsibility is not a punishment.
Mm,
You know, in the army, in the air force, in the military, they was always say never volunteer for anything.
mhm.
Mm, I found that out not to be true.
Okay.
And the reason being is because if I want to be responsible for me in a group of others,
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna be better off than being an owner, taking ownership of what's going on. If I got to be somebody, I will be take that charge. I will take that on.
Mhm.
I'd rather take it on and give it to somebody else.
Mhm.
I'm taking ownership,
Yeah.
and so that's what that means. I mean, that is not a punishment. It's really empowering
Mm,
to be responsible. And
yeah.
and if we begin to see it that way, instead of fearing it, you'd be like, hey, I want to give it to me.
Right. Because you know it's going to grow you. You anticipate the growth. You anticipate the maturity. You anticipate, the wins that will come from it. You anticipate how you'll be able to leverage it to get to the next level. Yeah. All of this is kind of pointing back to what do you see when you look in the mirror? What, how are you thinking? How are you categorizing yourself and your opportunities? And um, what judgment calls are you making around who you are versus who you want to be?
Mhm. And I tell you again, that's that shift in mindset that really begins to say, give it to me. I'm willing to take the challenge.
Hmm.
I'm willing to take the challenge. And here's the point: whether I fall or I don't, I'm better off for it.
Exactly. 100%.
I'm better off for it.
100%. You always come out knowing something, either what to do or what not to do.
There you go. Yeah, I never, this thing sticks in me so much, and I not that I hadn't heard it before, but President Obama, when he was president, he oftentimes said, when something went wrong, it's a teachable moment.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have those moments every day.
Yeah, I agree.
Every day. How can we use it? How can we use this experience? This if we're not having experiences that can be teaching us something, that means that something's not been. We ain't doing anything.
Hmm.
And I don't mean to say it like that's just a way of being able to measure how we're growing. It's that ability to be able to recognize that there's always something to learn.
Yeah,
Always
always,
something to learn.
always, without a doubt.
Unresolved plans. The answer is heal what you've been surviving.
Mm.
Heal what you've been surviving. That puts you having to do some work.
Yes. Yeah. That may not be as simple as you just saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
That may require some things. That may require some therapy. That may require some, well, not may, it will require some work. It will
Hmm.
require some inner work that you will need to do um, in order to get past that.
And I think this to sum this up, a new mindset,
Yeah. Oh,
a new
overhaul.
mindset.
Yeah. Complete
And,
overhaul.
and here's the thing: change your thinking first. Behavior follows belief. Sounds familiar?
Sounds very familiar. Something I say all the time. Behavioral change without mindset change is not sustainable long term.
And so you can't. That's where you can't fool. You've heard this saying: you can't fool God.
Hmm.
That right there is the answer, or the justification, or the example of not being able to fool God. You can put on a show for a moment, but behavior follows belief.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sustainability
Mhm.
is what you believe.
Yeah. And it no matter how long you think you can kind of cheat the system, so to speak, like it's going to show itself at some point because you're going to run into a scenario where you do what comes instinctively, and that will show your true colors.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I guess just to close it up, it says change doesn't fail because people don't want better. It fails because they try to change without changing their mindset.
Yeah. That comes full circle to how we started. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like if things are if you feel like there are hindrances, if you answered yes to the question, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? You gotta, you know, turn the mirror inward, and you gotta, hey, what's my mindset about this? What's my thought process? What are my fears? What are my uh, what are
Obstacle.
what are the obstacles? Right. You
Yeah.
know.
What are the things that are resisting? That are causing resistance
Right.
to me being able to make the adjustments or the changes that are necessary? And recognizing again, and that's where we started this from, was being able to recognize that we are indeed sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when that light bulb comes on, it starts up here. That light bulb lights up the fact that says, now I got to make some adjustments in the way in which I think. Because if I don't make the adjustments in the way I think, anything that I might do would only be temporary.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to look on the bright side of this. If you answered yes to that question, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Be grateful for the wake up call
Mhm.
because now it's about what you do next. It's about the obstacles you identify, and we talk through some of those and how you can work through navigating those obstacles. Because now you have an opportunity to do something different.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, uh, if you're interested in this mindset, this attitudes, go over to clearjourney.org. And we have the mindset, the love mindset over there. Those attitudes that if you begin to process and begin to put those attitudes in place, the 7 attitudes of love, they begin to adjust your perspective in
Hmm.
how you see things. And so you can begin to navigate life a little bit differently. And I tell you, things change when things change.
Yep. And nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's gonna wrap it for the night. Oliver, tell people where you can be found and what you are doing, what's going on.
Absolutely. If you're a social media person, that is the social media handle right there. Pretty much everywhere on social media, you can find us using that handle at Denali LLC. I'm an author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building spaces and men's enrichment spaces, author of the book Overcoming the Man Laws for the man who wants to be his best despite what he was taught. You can grab that over on Amazon. And as I am passionate about relationships, we have taken all of the information that we use in our group coaching experiences and formed a course that you can do at your own pace. And it is called the Make Love Better course. It is a DIY coaching experience. If you go over to denaliCommunity.com/MLB course, you can go and go through that. It is a great experience. It is a wealth of information. It is literally everything that we do in that group coaching experience, except for the mastermind sessions. You get all of the information, all of the teaching videos, and we're helping couples to communicate on an extraordinary level, to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and build holistic intimacy. So go check that out.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, support Oliver. Go over to Denali, and if you have a need or you know someone who has needs, go over and get the counsel that you need to navigate the relationships that you have. So, um, I am. I don't think I have anything else to share. Again, everything is over at clearjourney.org. Go through the website. If by any chance you want to help support us, by all means, we are well willing to accept any donations. By all means, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so feel free to help us navigate this journey of providing the things that we provide here. And it's all about helping each and every one of us navigate this thing together collectively, this thing called life. So until next time, I can't think of anything else. Oliver, you?
No, it's good. Hopefully this was helpful to someone who, especially if you answered yes to the question, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Prayerfully, this will help uh, push you into. I know we talked about an obstacle being waiting for motivation, and even though you might not have been waiting, you hopefully got something here that will push you to make a move, because this is an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And we want you to view it as that. It's an opportunity.
Hey, look, and I'm like, yeah, are we all sick and tired of sick and tired? If changes in our future, maybe everyone, all of us, is sick and tired. That causes us to move to the next level.
Yeah,
because life is like that. It'd be life, and remember,
that's true.
Hey, until next time, we can't change life. We can just help you navigate it. Until next time, we'll see you all right here on It's Life. Talk to you later.
Later.